Tim Stevenson, fund manager of Henderson EuroTrust. In the past 3 months, how have European markets performed?
European markets have come off the top over the last 3 months. I'm not entirely sure of how they've performed relative to other markets because I haven't looked at those statistics. There's been a huge variation within the markets, as you'd expect. Sort of oil and industrial have been very weak, in line with sort of profits warnings from 1 or 2 leading companies in that area. But outside of that, shares have held up quite well.
Okay, so how has the portfolio performed?
As far as I'm aware, the portfolio's beaten the index by a fairly significant margin over the last 3 months. And that reflects the sort of underlying quality and reliability that we have in the portfolios. We've got very little, in fact, I think we've got no what could be classified as true industrial exposure in the portfolio. We've got no cyclical names, heavy, deep cyclicals, which will have suffered. We've got names that are sensitive to the economy and have come back a little bit, such as Deutsche Post and so on. But they've only come back sort of 10% or so, nothing too drastic. So we've come through a pretty turbulent period reasonably well.
Okay, any significant activity in the portfolio?
In terms of significant activity, there are a few sort of subtle changes going on in the portfolio, as you'd expect, a sort of touch of the tiller here and there and so on in terms of adjusting our positions. No radical shifts. We haven't moved away from any of the sort of good quality, consistent growth names that we've got. We've also not felt that felt the need to sort of pile after sort of 1 or 2 of the sort of bombed out, sort of distressed cyclical area either. So there've been small adjustments rather than a sort of wholesale change in terms of what we've been doing.
Okay, finally, Tim, what's your outlook?
I think that we stay in a pretty nervous time in the short term. I think it was Mark Twain who said that October's not a great month for markets, as along with all the other months of the year. So I think we stay a little bit nervous in the short term. But I think the underlying improvement in the European economy should mean that, and the fact that better growth will come through in terms of earnings next year as well as this year, I think that the European markets should do okay, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of turbulence over the next month or so.
Tim Stevenson, thank you.
Thank you.